Namaste. Welcome back to Cost Accounting class session number 15. In this session, I'll be giving you the meaning and definition of contract costing, the terms used in contract costing, and formulas related to profit on incomplete contract and format of contract account and its accounting treatment. I'm Dr. Uma B. Pujar, Assistant Professor of Commerce, Government First Grade College and PG Center, Harvard. So dear students, in my last 2-3 sessions, we studied about job costing, and we also solved few problems and saw how to ascertain the cost of a particular job. And let's see what is the difference between job costing and contract costing now, because they say contract costing is also a form of job costing. Let us see what is this contract costing. Contract is a written agreement between two parties, that is contractor and contractee. The contractor is a person who undertakes the contract, and the contract is a person for whom the contract job is undertaken. The contract contains the details such as nature of job, time of commencement and completion, total price, etc. Each contract is made for a fixed price known as contract price. So there are two persons here who signs an written agreement, that is contractee and a contractor. Contractee gets the work done from the contractor, and the contractor will perform the work as per the specification of the contractee for an agreed price, and the agreement contains a few specification terms and conditions, that is what will be the time of commencement, what should be the time of completion, and the total price of the contract and the nature of the job. Everything will be contained in the agreement paper. So they both sign and the job will continue. The contract costing is a form of job costing. The only difference between job costing is the size of the job. The size in the contract costing is carried out to a long duration. That is, it may cross more than 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, because the work will be heavy compared to job costing. In job costing, the time period will be too short. Within a short period, the job will be completed, whereas in contract costing, it may take years together to complete the contract. So this is the major difference between the job costing and the contract costing. That is, the duration will be long in contract costing, whereas the duration will be short in the job costing. So here we understood that contract is an agreement between two persons, that is contractee and the contractor. One person gives the work, another person does the work according to the specification. There will be a common terms and condition where both will agree for an agreement, and the contract will be signed. And contract costing is a form of job costing. The only difference between job costing is the size of the job. The duration in contract costing will be long, and the duration in the job costing will be short. And contract costing is also known as terminal costing, because the work is terminated, that is stopped, that will be terminated once it is completed, and contract account will be closed. So it is called as terminated. Once the contract works get done, the contract closed, the agreement will be invalid. So after completion of the contract, it will be terminated. So it is also called as terminal costing. So this is all about the meaning of contract costing. Let's see the definition of contract costing according to Chartered Institute of Management Accounting, London. Contract costing is that form of specific order costing which applies where the work is undertaken to customers' special requirement and each order is of long-term duration. So it is a that form of specific order costing. Order means when we receive an order from the customer, the contract will be signed. So the customer becomes a contractee, and the person who does the work on behalf of this contractee is called as contractor, which applies where the work is undertaken to customer's special requirement and the customer specification. Whatever the customer requires, what are the needs, wants of customers, whatever he likes, those things are to be done by the contractor. And each order is of long-term duration. So in contract costing, the term will be too very long. Sometimes in construction of roads, bridges, in such cases, it may take 8 to 10 years also. So the contract will be for a longer duration. Contract costing is generally applied by contractors who undertake constructional work and engineering work like roads, dams, buildings, canals, railway lines, bridges, sewage system of a city or town, hospitals, schools, or college buildings or private buildings, shipbuilding, etc. So in few cases, it may take more than 10 to 15 years, like when we go for construction of bridges or railway lines, it may take longer period. So in these cases, contract costing are applied. And next we'll move on to next slide. So let us see some important terms used in contract costing. Very first thing is that contract price. It is the price of the contract agreed to be paid by contractee to the contractor on the completion of the contract. It is credited to contract account if the work is completed. So it is the price of the contract agreed to be paid by the contractee to the contractor after the completion of the contract. So this contract price includes some percent of profit also. So free of cost, the contractor will not do the work. So the price of the contract or the price of the work plus some percent of profit will be added, so that even the contractor will enjoy after the completion of the contract. So who is paying this contract price? The contractee will pay the money to the contractor. That is called as contract price. That is the total price required for a completion of a contract. Next, cash received. It is payments received by the contractor when the contract is in progress or work in progress. The cash is paid on installment by the contractee to the contractor on the basis of architect certificates and as per the terms of the contract. So once for all, the contractee will not pay all the money to the contractor. So as per the completion of the contract, so how much work is completed and which is being certified by the architect or an engineer, on that basis, the contractee will pay money on installment basis to the contractor. So if we pay all the money once at a time in one installment, there are some chances that the contractor may take away the money and he never finishes the work. So on the basis of how much work is completed, and it all depends on the certificate given by the architect. So if the certificate say that the work completed is more than 1/4, more than half, or more than 3/4, on that basis, the contractee goes on giving the money to the contractor on installment basis. That is called as cash received. So we have few formulas here. Calculation of cash received. Cash received is equal to work certified minus retention money. In next slide, we'll see what is the meaning of retention money. So work certified means it is an amount paid on, or the whatever approval given by the architect as how much work is completed is called as work certified. That is, work completed is called as work certified minus retention money. Or cash received is equal to work certified into cash received as percentage of work certified. Retention money. So let's see what is this retention money. So once the contract starts and they fix the contract price, suppose if the contract price is of 5 lakhs, the contractor will not pay all the money at the time. As I said, he will pay on installment basis as per the completion of the work. And once the work is completed, that is the contract is completed, still he never pays all the money. Some percent of money will be retained. He will keep it with himself. He will not pay it to the contractor, because after completion of the contract, in some cases, there may be some defective work. In the form of security, the contractee will retain some portion of money, some percent of money, that 10 to 15% of money will be retained without paying the money to the contractor after the completion of the contract. So that amount of money which is retained by the contractee, even after the completion of the contract, as a measure of security for any defective work which may be found later on. So the balance not paid or retained by the contractee is called as retention money. Retention money is equal to value of work certified minus cash received. This is the formula. Suppose if retention money is not given in the problem, then work certified and cash received is given, then we can apply this formula in order to calculate retention money. Next, what is work certified? This is the part of work in progress which is certified or approved by the architect or engineer as complete during a specified period. So work will be going on, construction work will be in the process, that is work will be in progress until and unless the architect or the engineer does not certify or does not approve, then still it remains as incomplete. So when the architect gives a certificate or approval that so much work is completed, that thing is called as work certified. So the work is valued at the contract price. Thus, it includes an element of profit too. The contractor has the right to ask for payment against the work certified. Work certified, it is nothing but how much work is completed, and that is being certified by the architect. The completion of work which is certified by the architect or which is approved by the architect or engineer is called as work certified. But commonly, the common people will not come to know how much percent of work is completed. It is only an architect or an engineer will check out and they will come to the conclusion how much percent of work is completed. On that basis, some percent of money is being paid by the contractee to the contractor. And how to calculate work certified? Work certified is equal to cash received plus retention money. There are 2 to 3 formulas here. So some information which depends on the given problem. In some problem, they may give it directly work certified, or they may give some cash received or retention money, and they may not give work certified directly. At that time, we can use this formulas. So work certified is equal to cash received plus retention money. Work certified is equal to contract price into work certified as per percentage of contract price, or work certified is equal to cash received divided by cash received as a percentage of work certified. So you have to keep it in mind, all these formulas, so that you can calculate the working notes as well as, and you can prepare a contract account successfully. Work uncertified. This is part of contract work in progress which is not certified or approved by architect or engineer during a specified period. The work is not certified because it has not reached at a stipulated stage as agreed upon. This indicates the work completed but not certified at the end of an accounting period. So as I said earlier, the engineer or an architect approval is very important. Though the work is completed, and if the architect or engineer doesn't approve or does not certify, then it remains as incomplete itself. So that part of work which is completed but not certified by the architect, or which remains as incomplete, and still if he does not approve it, it is called as work uncertified. That is, the work completed but not certified by the architect or engineer is called as work uncertified. Work uncertified means which, in common term, work incomplete. Work uncertified is equal to total cost incurred till date minus cost of work certified, or work uncertified is equal to total cost incurred till date into percent of cash received divided by percent of work done till date. The value of both work certified and work uncertified are taken under the head work in progress, and both are credited in contract account and asset side of the balance sheet. So it is credited in contract account, whereas it is taken as asset on the balance sheet. So now let's see who are the subcontractor. The contractor may entrust certain portion of work under the contract to the subcontractor. So all the work cannot be done by the contractor itself. So there will be so many of work in the contract. So in order to complete the contract on time and as per the specification of the contractee, he has to take help of certain people who are very specialized and expert in some work. That is, in a building construction, there will be some flooring work or some interior decoration, or even we have steel works, electric work. So these are very compulsory in a building. So in order to complete this work, he has to take help of some other people who enter into the contract to do these works. So these people are called as subcontractor. These subcontractor will do the work as per the instruction given by the contractor, and whatever cost incurred by these subcontractors, those costs are being debited in the contract account. So this is about subcontractor. Let's see what is cost plus contract. Cost plus contract, the term itself says something about contract price plus some percent of profit. Cost means whatever cost incurred for it to complete the contract plus some percent of profit. Cost plus profit is equal to contract price. When the contractor is paid the actual cost incurred plus a certain percentage of profit over the cost of production, then it is called as cost plus contract. So in common terms, in production activity or manufacturing activity, we call it as cost plus sales, cost plus profit, cost plus profit is equal to sales. In the same way, cost plus profit is equal to contract. Generally, it is approved in the agreement as to items of expenditure to be included in the actual cost and the percentage of profit to be added to the actual cost. This is cost plus contract. So to the contract, to the contract cost, some percent of profit is being added. Contract costs. What are the contract costs? So as I said, there are some subcontract costs. Along with that, we have materials is specifically purchased for the contract and is a direct cost. All labors engaged at site and the salaries and wages paid to the laborers are treated as direct cost. All direct expenses, that is electricity, insurance, telephone, postage, subcontracts, architects fees, etc., are treated as direct cost, and all these costs are debited to contract account. So this is all about important terms used in contract costing. Now let's see the profit on incomplete contract. So how to calculate a profit on incomplete contract? A profit on incompleted. So though the work is not completed, we have to calculate profit on such contract. So that profit on incomplete contract is called as notional profit, that is imaginary profit. So let's see these formulas. These formulas very important, and you have to just be ready with this formula while calculating the formulas. You have to remember all these terms while calculating the problem on contract costing. So we have to prepare a contract account. In order to prepare a contract account, we have to transfer some amount of money to profit and loss account, and how much of money is being transferred to profit and loss account is all depends on how much work is completed. So if work is completed more than half, or less than half, or 3/4 of the contract price, we have to compare this work completed on the basis of contract price. So if the contract price is 100 and the work completed is 20, it is less than 1/4. And if it's 30%, it is more than 1/4 but less than half. If it is 60%, it is more than 50% but less than 3/4. So like this, we have to compare, we have to take out the percentage, and then we have to compare how much amount will be transferred to P&L account. So first, let us see if the contract has just started and the work completed is less than 25% or 1/4 of contract price, no profit should be transferred to P&L account. So as I said, if the contract price is, for example, I'm telling you, if the contract price is of rupees 1 lakh and the work completed, that is the work certified by the architect, is less than 1/4, that is the work completed is of rupees 25,000. So because the contract price is 1 lakh and work completed is rupees 25,000, or less than 25,000, not exactly 25,000. If it is 22,000 or 20,000, if it is less than 25,000, it indicates that it is less than 1/4 of the contract price. Then in that case, we should not transfer any amount to profit and loss account. Second, so remember this point, if the percentage of work completed is less than 1/4 of contract price, then no amount is transferred to P&L account. And if work completed is 1/4 or more, but less than half of the contract price, then, so if 1 lakh is the contract price, and if work completed is 25,000 or more than 25,000, but less than 50,000, then 1/3 of notional profit is transferred to P&L account. So this is the formula we apply here. So if work completed is 1/4 or more than 1/4 but less than half of the contract price, then 1/3 of notional profit into cash received divided by work certified, or percentage of cash received towards work certified, can be taken as the formula to the contract account. So if the work on the contract has advanced to 50% or more of the contract price, but less than the 3/4 or 75% of the contract price, then 2/3 of the profit is transferred to P&L account. So look here, these two are very important. In first case, no amount is transferred to P&L account. Whereas if work is completed is 1/4 or more than 1/4, but less than half, then 1/3 of notional profit is transferred to P&L account. And if work completed is half, that is exactly 50%, or more than 50%, but less than 3/4, then 2/3 of notional profit is transferred to P&L account. So you have to remember these formulas. You have to compare first how much work is completed. You have to take out the percentage, and if the percentage is 50%, 60%, 40%, you have to check it, and then you have to transfer this amount of money to P&L account. And the fourth one is if the work completed is 3/4 or nearing completion of the contract, in such case, amount transferred to P&L account is based on the estimated profit. So it is more than 3/4, it is completed 3/4 and it is nearing for completion. And in that case, we have to take estimated profit as a base to calculate the amount of money to be transferred to P&L account. Let us see what is the formula of estimated profit. So estimated profit is equal to expenditure incurred for the contract, incurred for the year ending. So till the year ending, whatever expenditure incurred on the contract is taken, and we have to add some additional expenditure for completion of the contract in case if they require any additional material or labor for the completion, because it is nearing for the completion, still they require some additional charges, then those charges or expenditure is being added so that we can arrive at estimated total cost. And estimated profit is arrived at contract minus estimated cost. So when we deduct this estimated cost from contract price, estimated profit will be calculated. So using this estimated profit, we can calculate this estimated profit into work certified divided by contract price. By applying this formula, some percent of profit can be transferred to P&L account. So this is about the profit on incomplete contract. Now let us see what is how the format of contract account. So as I said, all the charges, all the expenditure incurred for the contract will be debited here. To material issued, to material purchased, to material transferred from other contract, to plant installed, to administration overhead, to wages, and if you have any outstanding wages, we have to add it, to supervisor's salary, and if there is any outstanding salaries, add it, to profit on sale of, see here, the profit on sale of materials or plant is being taken on debit side, to subcontract cost, to establishment cost. All these costs are debited, whereas if the work is completed by contract account, contract price is credited if work is completed. So by material at site at the end of the year, whatever material is remained on the site, it is being credited here. By material transferred to other contract, by material returned to stores, by sales price of materials. If profit, you have to take it on the debit side, and what is the sales price, and if there is any loss on the sale of these materials or plant, we have to take it on credit side. By profit and loss account, sale of plant, sale on plant of plant and material, loss on sale of plant and material. And again, closing plant, we have to take closing plant, in that we have to less plant loss, plant return to stores, and then depreciate it. If plant is returned to stores, again we have to depreciate it, and then we have to take the amount. By work in progress, as I said earlier, under work in progress, we have work certified and work uncertified. Both we have to take care on credit side of this account. And by abnormal loss, that is material lost or plant destroyed, is taken on credit side. And when we take all this amount, and there will be some balancing figure that is called as notional profit. And when we carry down this notional profit, and this is the amount to be transferred to P&L account, so which is taken on debit side of this contract account. We have to see how much work is completed, whether it is completed more than 1/4, more than half, or more than 3/4. On that base, we have to transfer 1/3 or 2/3, or on estimated profit, we have to take the transferred amount here in this to P&L account, and the remaining balance will be transferred to reserves. So this is the format or structure of contract account. Please note down these points. And now next, let's solve few problems on this contract account. So be ready with these formulas and with these basic terms and conditions, and also contract account, so that we can solve few problems on contract account. So I'll be coming up with few problems in the next session. Until then, have a nice time. Thank you very much.